In his first 100 NBA games, Victor Wembanyama scored more points than LeBron James did in the same time span. He also made more three-pointers than Curry and blocked more shots than Hakeem Olajuwon. With this incredible mix of shot blocking and three-point shooting, is Wemby already the best three-point shooting rim protector in the history of the NBA? Just by looking at this chart, with the higher the dot meaning better three-point shooting and the further right meaning better rim protection, he's certainly putting together the best single season ever in that category, as he's completely off in his own stratosphere. With the three-point era in full swing, we've seen many bigs completely transform their games to fit in with the current times. Take Brook Lopez, for example, who went from a low post guy not known for defense, transforming his game into being a three-point sniper who is now one of the best shot blockers in basketball. However, Wemby has the advantage of already coming into the league with that skill set, as he didn't have to develop or change his game. In only his second season, Wemby now ranks 4th in MVP voting ahead of Jason Tatum. There's a couple of reasons why he ranks this high. First being his averages of 25.1 points, 10.7 rebounds, and a league-leading 3.9 blocks per game, along with leading the Spurs to a better record than we could have ever thought possible. So simply put, the game of Victor Wembanyama is something we have never seen in the history of the NBA. And this is why. Here, Victor gets his defender lost on an up fake, leaving a cleared runway for a finish. Now one-on-one with Şengün on the block, this is incredible defense, nearly pinning it to the backboard. Now in a post-up situation, look how he's able to again use an up fake for another nasty finish. Here, Gobert makes a great cut, only for Wemby to erase what he thought was going to be an easy finish, completely embarrassing his countrymen. But once would have been just too easy for Victor, as he gets Rudy again only moments later. This play is ridiculous, as he first loses Zubac on the up fake, and then parts the 7 Cs for a monstrous slam, as Porter Jr. and Nicholas Batum wanted nothing to do with this poster. His wingspan is such an elite weapon, here blocking the hook shot attempt of Zoo, and then on this play he's able to rise up completely over the top of Jackson Davis for a demolition at the rim. This play was absurd, getting past Giannis to then throw it off the backboard for the putback slam. Now off the Bucks turnover, Wemby goes behind the back into a ferocious poster over Brook Lopez. And as I said earlier, he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. There's really no point in standing in his way when he gets a full head of steam. And here, Şengün learns that the hard way. Even rebounding is tough to do with Wemby around, as here he baptizes Christian Wood. His blend of height and wingspan makes him untouchable when he gets going offensively, but it also makes him a complete defensive monster. But it's his basketball IQ that goes under the radar. Players with all the physical tools need to have a high basketball IQ as well to really make the most of that physical talent. Take Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, and Magic Johnson for example. Now yes, Wemby's averaging 3.4 turnovers per game to his 3.7 assists, which isn't a good ratio. But when you look at how these turnovers are coming, it's a little bit better, as the reasons for him having a high turnover count isn't as bad as it looks, as they're coming because he's still a younger player in the league, 2 because he has so much ball handling duties, and 3 he's making reads so fast that his teammates simply aren't ready for them. But these flashes of him diming up a teammate are truly terrifying. Here at the nail, Wemby's able to draw the double team and then make a great drop off pass to Castle, backdoor for 2. His 3-point shooting is such a threat that here all the attention is on his shot, allowing him to make the perfect pass to CP3 for the finish. Now off an inverted pick and roll with Vassell, he's able to make the bounce pass right by Hachimura to give Devin the chance to cook in the mid-range. Now it's Wemby screening for Vassell as he gets the ball back, where Victor then fakes and draws 2 defenders, leaving Devin open for a triple try. Here's another inverted screen and roll as Wemby comes off and then finds Castle in the lane for the finish. They often give the ball to Victor in these screening actions, as here Castle again sets the pick for Wemby, allowing Victor to hit him going backdoor on the alley-oop. On this play, Victor makes the catch at the nail, and Denver send 4 defenders to him. But instead of panicking, he makes the simple kick out pass to Barnes for the triple. Then later in the same game, it happens again, as Denver again send help off of Harrison Barnes, and he makes him pay again. This sequence is absolutely absurd. First forcing the miss on Jokic right at the basket, to then bring the ball up the floor like a point guard into an inverted screen and roll action with Castle, where he then starts starts his upward jump shot motion, only to hit Castle at the last minute going back to the basket. And if you thought that play was wild, this one's insane, as Wemby loses the ball in the lane, only to flick it right to the cutting Barnes, who finishes for 2. To have this much court vision even when you nearly committed a turnover is unreal. The Spurs like to use Wemby in the post, preferably at the nail like Jokic or Giannis, but they also like to use him in screen and roll actions where he can either set the pick like a traditional big or actually handle the ball like a point guard to make decisions from there. Victor Wembanyama's playmaking isn't consistent yet, but when he shows flashes of elite court vision and playmaking like this, it's breathtaking. If he could regularly make reads like that and keep his turnover numbers low, he could turn himself into a version of Nikola Jokic that also has great athleticism and defensive skills. It might sound like a reach, but with his coordination, height, and feel for the game, it's not as far-fetched as it seems. Wemby was drafted to be the next face of the NBA, and he's quickly lived up to that hype. The Frenchman became the fastest player ever to reach 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, and 150 blocks, as the Spurs have let him show off his skills in the first season and a half of his career. The team has added players around him as well, as they plan to build a roster that fits his game, especially if he keeps playing at this incredible level. One key addition was Chris Paul. While many wanted the Spurs to go all in and trade for Trae Young, the team chose the more cautious approach, and it's paid off big time. CP3 has not only helped Victor Wembanyama, but he's also fast-tracked the development of the other young players on the roster. His two-man game with Wemby in particular, though, has taken Victor's game to a completely new level. On this play, the Spurs set a high screen and roll action with Wemby and Chris Paul, and this is simply unstoppable. Then moments later, Wemby gets the block on one end, allowing the Spurs to start the fast break, where he's then able to sprint the floor so CP3 can find him upstairs again. Here's another screen and roll action, as Wemby rolls really hard off the pick, and Chris Paul is able to just throw it up anywhere, and Wemby will throw it down. This two-man game is impossible to deal with, as here Wemby gets another open driving lane off the action for a slam. But Victor also is able to get to his three-point shooting off these actions, as here Wemby gets daylight for a long bomb. Now off the inbounds, Wemby will set a decoy screen, only to then pop open for another triple. Here they do it again, as Wemby will set the fake screen, only to pop for another. Another way CP3 has been able to generate open looks for Wemby is in transition, as here Chris Paul hits the trailing Victor for 3. We see these kinds of actions a lot, as this time Chris Paul drives into the paint, drawing the attention of Walker Kessler, and when the pass is made back out to Victor, it's an impossible closeout for Kessler, leading to another 3. Now on this play, Wemby sets the high screen and roll for Paul, and CP3 makes the perfect behind the back pass, allowing Victor another open look. The connection between these two has done very well to live up to the hype, as it's just such a dynamic action already, as here Wemby catches as if he's going to shoot it, as he then fakes Koloko out of his shoes and then attacks the rim viciously for a slam. These easier looks off screening actions from Chris Paul in particular have completely opened up his game, turning him into an offensive nightmare to game plan against. Wemby has said that he's happy about how the Spurs plan to develop his game, as they're not keeping him inside of a box. Instead, they're finding a way to create something entirely new, like the NBA has never seen before. The first 100 games of the career of Victor Wembanyama have been the best that we've ever seen, averaging these incredible numbers and accomplishing things that even the best players in the history of the NBA never did. But will this GOAT-like trajectory actually put him in the GOAT discussion when he retires? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments section below.